So you
Okay,
try to flip it first. That's the circle on the upper right. It's the third one down with the circle on it. That'll flip the camera.
okay. Upper right. Okay. This phone is acting crazy and I'm sitting still. So, uh, oh my Lord. And I have everything off. Nothing is blocking my phone.
Okay, well, we're going to chat with you when people just won't be able to see you.
Okay. Peace and blessings. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, how you doing, sweetie?
Um, I am great now that I can speak to you personally. This has been heavy on my heart. Wow. Wow.
Catch your breath. Take your time.
Thank you.
You
Okay.
talking, act like you talking to one of your brother friends. He brought in the house.
That's exactly.
He stepped on all. He done stepped all over the carpet. Didn't wipe his feet at the door. Your brother ain't saying shit to him. You looking at both of them like they crazy. Now you can tell him what you need to tell him.
That's right. That's right. It's a pleasure to be online with you. It's an honor. Thank you for accepting my call.
Oh, you welcome, sweetie. Oh man, I do what I can when I can. That's all I could do.
That's true. That is true. What's been on my mind is I've been seeing a lot of death, but mainly like by accidents or visions of how my family or I will find them. And I've been, you know, this journey I'm just on this journey and I'm learning and I'm always excited when you come on and you always answer my questions without me
Can I,
having to ask.
can I ask you something? When you say you keep seeing death, do you mean psychically or do you mean in the physical world actually taking place?
Mm, psychically, um, like a deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and the devil is a lie. And then I go down and I see my family members, or I rotate somewhere else to get that off my mind, and or I go back there and chief with my mom, and we talk about it sometimes. So, just want to know, what does that mean, and am I receiving messages?
Okay. In the psychic realm, the mind uses exaggeration as a means to make something stand out in your waking state to the
Hmm.
play out in reality. The
Okay.
extreme exaggeration psychically of change is called death.
Right.
Death don't always mean somebody gonna die. It
That
could
means something.
mean something in somebody like they've learned, had an awakening, and they finna kill a bad habit.
Okay.
So
That makes sense.
like for example, if you having a vision, a reoccurring vision of somebody stumbling out of the nightclub, drunk, sloppy drunk, falling down, getting ran over by a car, then it might be the car is the catalyst to a drunken night out that wakes this individual up and makes him kill the alcoholic in himself so that he can progress on his shadow work to the recovery of the self.
You just answered my question, and I have to do my shadow work. I don't know why it's alarming or a resistance for me, but I speak it instead of writing. So I think I'm focusing too much on the writing
Mhm.
and not focusing on how I'm doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the method, while you trying to figure it out, you using a training method. It's just training you to focus on the frequency. You use journaling. Some people use tarot cards. Some people use runes. But you're training yourself in the physical world with a like teaching the child to write with a pencil. You're training yourself with these implements, and you programming yourself with ritual.
Okay.
Things you do ritualistically is programming you to how to execute whatever your game plan is. It's just that most of us game plan is predicated up on some stringy hippie coming out of the clouds with a Philharmonic orchestra and a nightgown on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we focusing on the wrong frequency of energy to properly tune in our psychic resources. Nature is going to figure out a way to teach you. Your deja vu moments are the moments in your book of life where you said, this is a flip. This is a tie me back to something else that I told me to remind me of, and it gave it to me in this surreal experience that they classify as deja vu. The sense or the sudden feeling that you've done this before or lived this moment before. But it's a point in your consciousness where you pinned it so that you focus on events of the day to try to figure out, why would I tell myself in my book of life to put this loop here? Because that's what it is. It's a pin loop. It's tied to something from the past that you was working on. So now you finally have whatever it is to overcome it. So you have to be reminded of when you was working on it on the past, so that you become aware that you now have the tools to fix the problem in the present. This is all part of the breaking the generational curses and shadow work too. This is all tied together.
Okay. And I am a caregiver for my mom and dad, and I have my kids living with me, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And I remember seeing one of your videos about the caregiver, and I can't find it, but what advice would you give a young woman, retired military, 22 years, holding it down? And I'll stay to myself, but I've been, let's say, I have not been. What I will say is people that I thought were real to me, because I'm real to them, have walked out of my life. I look at it as a lesson and I've learned, but what advice could you give me to, I guess, to subconsciously tell me it's okay to move forward and it's going to be all right?
You need a sister group that'll enforce your self-care.
Ain't that the truth?
This is why we never allow any of the sisters to tend to the elders by themselves. We always had a way where we can bring a team together that's doing similar stuff, so that they can rotate and cycle and give everybody a chance for self-care. Caregiver syndrome, you become so focused on caregiving others. This is why the father is so important to the mother, because he's supposed to enforce her self-care so that she's more functional for the children, because he want her to be at peak performance if he love her and he love his family. And to keep her at peak performance, he have to make sure she have a stand-up solid sister group that's not going to have her out there on BS when she going for me time. You know, they can do stuff together with her to get her out of the house, get her away from the children, make her tend to herself some, take her on spa day, you know what I'm saying? Or one of them just might have a chill pad. Right? But you need your sister group so that you can be forced by your team, because it'll make it easier for you to adhere to your self-care. That they call it peer pressure support. So you using your team of sisters, y'all. This is what the Califia queens used to teach all of the priestesses and the daughters to the chiefs across the land. That's why they had the women's resort to teach this stuff, because the settlers came and told the women They turned them against each other so that they can break up the sisterhood. They used something called the broken mirror spell, where they broke a mirror on the crossroads and cast a curse on the sisterhood of the priestess of the land to make them be hostile towards each other and not recognize each other. That was a conjure, right? The conjure has been broken the last couple of years because I had to work with the descendant of the person that was responsible and make her break the spell, because it has to be, if the person not here to break their own spell, they have to have a worthy descendant, blood relative, that breaks the spell. And this is how you end up figuring out how to close all of the conjures at a higher level of Hecka magic, by knowing who the descendants is, by the work that they doing in their life. It's going to reveal them. And that's how we was able to close out that Haitian revolutionary conjure, because they sent soldiers to Florida after the French left Haiti. And they sent priestesses and priests to New Orleans. And they was working together using what they call cross-conjure support. The conjurer of the tribes of the land was being spiritually supported by the warring energies that was being taken from Haiti. Haiti is about to have a big breakthrough moment of peace and celebration coming any day now. And this is all going to be based on the new world coming into being. Haiti has been deliberately held last, so they're going to have to be publicly made first.
Okay, got you.
And that's when all of the tribal systems around the world going to start exposing the efforts that they was making to take the land back from the corporations. And all of the time we thought we was fighting each other. We was fighting corporations versus people. It was the zombie apocalypse is to take over a straw man. And we was fighting this conjure war, but most of us was totally oblivious to it because we only believe in the reading, writing, arithmetic that the 12-gauge step-down detox from critical thinking program called school has conditioned us to accept.
Right.
So yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, sweetie.
I was just going to ask, I watched your video with Young Elder the other day. Oh, that was very, very insightful. Thank y'all so much. And peace to Young Elder as well. For
Shout out
now,
to the Young Elder, country boy.
I'm sorry?
I said, shout out to Elder, the old country boy.
I was just going to ask in regards to the straw men, and we haven't done any paperwork to say that, you know, I know you were saying something about paperwork, don't worry about it. It's not a fear thing. It's just a better understanding.
Yeah.
So what advice would you have for me on that?
Okay. So the abandonment of the contract is the refusal to make contracts knowingly in the future and not maintenance in current contracts by signature, right? So you abandon the contract. And if you look it up, it's called the abandonment defense in law. When you discover the fraud, in order not to be categorized as a party to the fraud, you must abandon the fraud entirely and anything that comes with it. It's totally the way that they have the fraud structured. Some people can't get out as easy as others because their life is wrapped into the system parasitically. The system will siphon all of their financial developments off by the fees and fines and taxes and levies and liens, and by the time they get done, the system sucked all their money out and they don't got nothing to show for it. Now they foreclosing on their properties.
Right.
These were all fraudulent contracts that was ordered to be given to us through the judiciary by means of the Bar Association. That's why when these judges take these titles of nobility, they being knighted. When they knighted as an agent of the crown, then they given a title of nobility to acknowledge their receipt of that title, right? They can't pass the title on to their children because being knighted is called letters patent. Is the standing in their lifetime, they will reap the benefit of the gentry as an honorable, as an esquire, as long as they do the work for the crown. The crown's instructions is in the charter for the first bar. That's called a foundational document. The entirety of the Bar Association is built on King George's proclamation of the Bar Association to issue those titles of nobility for the people that work for the British Crown. Under the barristers over there and over here, they needed a barrister accreditation registry, and it became known as the Bar Association. Once you know what their purpose is, then you can unravel, well, who do they work with? They work with the bankers, because they move in such massive amounts of currency that the currency have to be under the security of the judiciary's oversight. So like every court is a ship. And every time you on the ship talking to the judge, you talking to the captain of the ship. And the clerk is the navigator. Because you under admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. Before early colonial law, the chiefs used to be able to go in and remove their tribesmen from out of the custody of the corporation because it was a conflict of jurisdiction between the tribal jurisdiction of the land law and the admiralty jurisdiction of the maritime law.
You're not getting any feedback, are you? Okay, because I hear us, but it's also playing in the background. I just wanted to make sure you okay. I
don't know what that is, man. That's probably them eavesdropping.
That's exactly what I was saying. Unc, it's a pleasure, and I greatly appreciate you and all you do.
You're welcome, sweetie. I'm glad I was able to have a conversation with you.
I love you, and that is from the bottom of my feet. Oh, I love you. I love you. Yes. Every time I know you're going to be on, I haven't even been online watching your videos because it's like something's resisting me. And I just got this message that you were live, and I jumped on and I said, I want to talk to you one day. And I also had sent you a message in January of 23. I was asking for some advice about a situation. I heard you. And I realized I didn't really have to speak with you, but I heard you. I got the message. Everything worked out well for me. I'll put it that way.
I'm glad to hear
and
that, sweetie. I'm always here. If I can say something that'll encourage, motivate, or inform somebody how to accomplish a goal, I did my service to the people. If I could help one, and I could have helped more, but most of them thought I was crazy until they started seeing what I was telling them. And the ones that were saying I ain't had no receipts because they was too lazy to go cross-reference the receipt. So they just assume I don't have no references to what I be telling them, but everything that I'm telling them, I got references to. Taking you back to who said it, who did it, where they come from, why they came, how many of them came. You know what I'm saying? The lie they told us and all that. I know it all. And that wasn't my agenda to be on here telling the people how we got tricked, but it was the path of least resistance to use social media. Notice the agent, notice the principal. That's to you eavesdropping motherfuckers that's tapping in down there in Raven Rock, sitting there watching, looking on the big old screen like we don't know you watching. I ain't doing nothing wrong. I'm just telling the people the truth, and you just got to deal with it.
That's right. And free Larry Hoover and made the Three Kings walk the land. Free everyone under COINTELPRO and made a matriarch be restored. Yes.
And the one law, the great law, and the one
great law. That's
condition,
right.
restore the matriarchy. That's one law,
right.
one condition, restore the matriarchy. By giving the earth back to the rightful heirs, heaven returns to earth with the divine feminine. And then all of the women be so much more pleasant to be around.
Ain't that the truth? Just peace and love. Sports stuff is getting old.
Yeah, they don't have to be in war mode no more. But this is why we need those sister groups. So y'all check, all y'all sisters that ain't ever heard me talk about the Goddess Glow Up, go look and investigate. She got a video on Instagram and Facebook. Heidi Barble from the Goddess Glow Up do women support groups that help the women be able to deal with each other and heal from the old wounds. She's really good at what she do, and she actually live the lessons that she teach, right? So she tell you how to do what she doing, what worked for her, and then try to help you adjust it to fit your model, right?
Right.
So that was in the